It's been a long time, Chris. I'll cut right to the chase. I'll tell you why I'm here. You see, I've had enough. Everyone has had enough. No more of you and your dates and your emails. No more sweetheart searches. No more nothing. I'm here to put a stop to it. You see, your virginity is my business and mine to control, not yours. Allow me to clue you in on a plan I've had for a while now. You see, I went out at night into the streets of Virginia. There, I found every prostitute and hooker I could find. And do you know what I did? I found each and every one of them, and I told them, I have your mugshot. If you see this man, give him nothing. He deserves nothing. You see, I spread these out. They know you before you even approach. So you see, Chris, I have all the cards. And you're just going to have to play with whatever hand I deal to you.
When you take a look at Chris Chan's rogues gallery of trolls, perhaps none have put more fear into his heart than the Pickle Man. Now, you can make the argument that maybe Clyde Cash did, because one time Clyde said he was coming to Chris's house and Chris hid under a pile of stuffed animals for the entire night. The Pickle Man is like the boogeyman to Chris Chan. He's desperately afraid of this person. Now, the Pickle Man you see on screen like a couple seconds ago before I started talking here, that's just one iteration of many Pickle Men who were out to get Chris. And they got him all right, and they got him pretty good. Because today we're going to look back and talk about one of the funniest trolling sagas, just one of the funniest events that ever happened to Chris. And that's the time that he went on a date with this girl, Emily, also brought his dad along for supervision, because as you do when you're in your 30s. And then once Chris and his date were left alone, it happened. The Pickle Man struck, and he struck hard. So today we're going to look at this event, we're going to talk about it, and we're going to look at what happened afterwards, because altogether, this is just some real funny shit. If you want to go back to the inception of the Pickle Man, you'd have to go back to 2008 on a fucking MySpace page of all places, because that's when the Chris and Blanca saga was going on, and at some point the trolls convinced Chris that, Blanca was the Pickle Man, and the Pickle Man was a black transvestite. This is just coming straight from the quickie here, but it's, the Pickle Man has a long storied history with Chris, and the thing is, I could go into all that stuff. However, I want to talk about the real event, the main event, like the big, the best thing that ever happened involving the Pickle Man and Chris, and that's what we're here to look at today.
Yeah, stupid long trip to Jersey. I took a stupid long trip to see Cleveland.
If I was hitchhiking and you were in the car, it was different. It used to be safer. You used to be able to hitchhike places.
Nowadays you can't do that.
Right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't try to come a ride if I was broke down on the side of the road.
Yeah. You don't know who's going to stop.
Yeah.
Well, I'll see you later. You have a good trip.
All right.
Don't go to sleep. If you get sleepy, pull over.
Okay, don't worry, I will.
Take care.
Oh. All right, come on then.
Tell all the girls hello. Send me a copy
Okay.
of your thing.
Okay, you can show me around the mall.
So after a stupidly long hour and a half conversation with Bob while Chris is sitting there and just puts in his input every couple minutes, it's really just a date between Emily and Bob, and Bob's a pretty charming fucker. But I didn't want you guys to sit here and have to listen to 120 minutes of Bob and Emily going back and forth. So we cut most of that out and just left it at the end here. What they're talking about is that Chris is telling his dad, he's trying to compare his trip to Cleveland, like the time his dad had to take a long trip to Jersey, which, I don't know. Like, for people who don't drive a lot, in Cleveland to Virginia, Cleveland to Jersey, these are like multi-hour trips. But at the same time, it's like it's not that bad. It's not like you're driving cross country. But Bob rightly brings up that you had a car, I had to hitchhike. And then it breaks down into him telling Emily, well, if you feel tired, stop on the side of the road, take a nap. Just anything an older, wise person would say to someone, just trying to give him some good life advice. And now Emily's saddled with the worst part of this whole situation here, and that's actually having to go on a quote-unquote date with Chris. So what we're about to listen to right now is them two gallivanting around the mall, Chris telling her about some history that's happened here at the mall at certain stores. We hear about Anna McLaren, we hear a little bit about Megan, and eventually someone will emerge from out of a store that will catch Chris so off guard and really make this recording here legendary. The final thing I feel like I should bring up is, no, there's no video footage of this. However, Emily had a recording device on her person, and that is how we have this footage we have here today. Well, not footage, recording. And yeah. So let's get back into it, but I wanted to give a little more of a backstory before we fully got into this.
Okay. Hey, here's our high
Yeah.
You come to just about my eye line.
Yeah.
Come on, this way. Let's go this way. So where do you usually like to go shopping at when you're in a shopping center?
Clothes stores.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a number of clothing stores here, like
Yeah.
JCPenney and Sears, among other places that's more name brand.
Yeah, a lot of those stores here, I was taking a look at the prices, and they're pretty expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, but they used to have a KB Toys in here, and that's where I did my $1,000 shopping spree. I won back in around the adventure of Sonic the Hedgehog. That sweepstakes. You might remember me talking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might remember that news clip.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah.
So Chris is starting off well enough, asking her where she likes to shop at her own local shopping center. But then, of course, in classic Chris fashion, within maybe a minute of talking to this girl on his own, he has to talk about the toy store or the gaming store, KB Toys being the one in particular here, because he felt the need to, to brag a little bit about how he won that $1,000 Sonic the Hedgehog shopping spree back in the day. Just the important things.
Wow.
What?
Like, I'm sorry. I'm just kind of fascinated. Like, it's like a character from PTSM or somebody else that came all the way from Japan just leapt out on television.
No, I'm definitely all American.
You're all American.
Yeah, I'm all American.
Okay, so that's just the eyes are deceptive.
Yeah.
I've always found this call interesting because it's one of the few times we get to hear an actual interaction with Chris out in the real world with a girl, not just over the internet. And he acts the same exact way he does on the internet, because it takes him less than 2 minutes now. It was in 1 minute point we're talking about toys. Now the 2 minute part, Chris is just fawning over this girl. You look like a character from this anime just jumped right out of the TV screen. She makes sure to reassure Chris that now I'm all American. And Chris responds with, I guess it's just your eyes that look Japanese.
So what's your favorite store here?
Yeah, currently, since they took away the toy store, it's I would say it's mostly GameStop. I also go to the bookstore, Sears, or even the Spencer's that's down the other side of the mall. And they used to have an FYE here, which was a Suncoast before they all merged and became an FYE. But then they closed that and the next store went out of business here.
What's down the other way? Because I haven't been down this. I came down this way, but I haven't been down that way.
Okay, we'll go down that way.
Okay.
All right.
You know, if he didn't act like such a dickhead at that mall over the years, he would have been a great tour guide or a great, like, just a speaker there, like a public, I don't even know what to call it, but he knows so much about the history of this mall. He knows where everything is. It's, that's his place, basically, you know? Yeah, I think it has something to do, personally. I think it has something to do with his fascination with drawing up the Quickville shopping mall and all that, because he spends so much time at this mall, knows it like the back of his hand, and you know in Sonichu and in Quickville and all that, I mean, look at the name, Quickville, he likes to bring all this stuff from his real life and put it in there. So, like, like if you've ever heard Chris talk about it, like, especially during the Miyamoto saga, it was always, oh, I put so much work into this, you know, the CAD plans for the Quickville shopping mall. I bet you the CAD plans for the Quickville shopping mall were probably just the same layout of this mall right here. But hey, you know, we've heard so much about Fashion Square over the years, and I bet you a few weens or people who really wanted to know about the Chris lore have gone there over the years. But it's nice to hear Chris here explaining to us what stores are where. It's kind of like having a nice little tour ourselves over the over this recording here.
Hope you don't mind me sticking around your left side.
Oh, that's okay. That's fine.
I mean, I guess I should keep my hands to myself and behave, right?
Yeah, you should probably do that.
I mean, I was just trying to be friendly. But you know, I'm respectful. I'll touch you gently on the shoulder or the back.
Yeah.
I mean, at least I'm not that guy from Inuyasha that always tries to go for the bum.
Yeah.
So stupid. Yes, funny. Always gets slapped in the face, he does.
Yeah.
I forget his name. I think it's Mamoru or something like that. Did you watch Inuyasha?
It's Moroku.
Yeah, Moroku, that was it. You hit on the head right there.
This is just getting more awkward by the second. You can tell by the tone of Emily's voice, she's just waiting for Chris to pounce. You can hear Chris start to say, like, let me make my way over to this side. I should probably keep my hands to myself, right? Like, he's such a creep when he's out with these women. I mean, just look at some other times. When he went out with Casey, she said that all he could do was stare at her tits and just be a weirdo. When he went to the Charlottesville every Friday, or Fridays at 5 in Charlottesville, that concert series that was out in the summertime. It was outdoor concerts. Chris would go to this thing, it being a family event, with him having a shirt that says, like, friendly and flirty man zone. Like, he does not know. He's not good with communication. He has no social skills nor social awareness, and it's really painful when you have to listen to him in these public settings. I mean, he's cringe as hell when he's online too. He's always been, but when it's in the real world and you're listening to this, it's just like, man, like, could you? Like, the people walking by this day didn't know anything that was going on, but if they just stood by and observed for a couple minutes, they'd probably be laughing their fucking ass off.
Is that the food court there?
Yeah, that's basically the food court.
Okay.
Used to have McDonald's in here so many years ago.
Yeah.
Across from the GameStop there. Back when it was called Babbage's.
Yeah.
And then between them and Funko Land and Software, etc., they all merged into they all merged with GameStop.
Oh. I heard about that.
Yeah. I think you should still at least noticed those game stores back in your youth.
Yeah. I play video games sometimes, but not very often. Oh, no, thank you.
No, thank you.
Like, dude, he can't stop talking about the fucking video games. It's like she says, oh, look, it's the food court over there. Oh, yes, the food court. You know, there was a McDonald's here many years ago, and it was across from the GameStop. And speaking of the GameStop, and then he goes on to this rant about all the companies merging that eventually turned into just the GameStop conglomerate, I guess. I don't know. But you can hear Emily say, you know, I play video games sometimes, not that often. And then the most shocking part of this, a dude offers them free samples, and Chris's fat ass says no.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, right over there, that pizza there.
Uh-huh.
That's where PacSun used to be, where I met Anna McLaren.
Oh yeah, I've heard of her as well.
Yeah.
Is she still around?
No, she moved to Utah.
Utah.
Yeah, she's a Mormon. I later found out after I met her, but we became good friends, and I gave her a go-away/birthday party before she left Utah on her 20th birthday. And actually, her friends and I got together and put together a party. I bought the cake.
Oh, that's nice of you.
See, I simply don't know how Emily isn't just falling head over heels for Chris when he's talking about all this awesome stuff he's done over the years. You know, he's won a Sonic contest when he was a child and got put on the news. He bought a cake for a friend of his that never really even wanted to be his friend in the first place. She just waved to him through a window. Chris just gravitated in the room and decided to ask if she was single, and it turned into a weird friendship over the years. If you know the story of Anna McLaren, it's that, you know, she worked at PacSun. One time, her and her co-workers agreed to wave to Chris because he would just stand out front of the store and pace back and forth. And then Chris came in the store after he saw her wave, and what was his first question to her? Are you single? Are you over 18? Stuff like that. Like, it's just, once again, another shining example of how Chris has no types of social skills. And this was years before this call took place, so it's not like shit got any better. But yeah, Anna McLaren's a weird one because she stuck around for years. Like, she was always on Chris's Facebook page trying to give Chris advice. But they've since fallen out, as of everyone who's talked to Chris, because he's in jail now. But the falling out with Anna, I think, happened years before that. Nonetheless, like I said, you're seeing really a bunch of history here. The McDonald's that Chris talks about years and years ago, I assume, is the one that he always got kicked out of. The PacSun that he's talking about is where the whole story of the crazy pacer started. So, like I said, we're getting a good history lesson here of the Charlottesville Mall. The only thing missing is him taking her to the security room and saying, and these are those fucking jerk-ops.
And there was also Megan. Do you still keep in contact with her?
Yeah, no, I haven't been in touch with her for a long time.
Oh.
Ever since she moved to another state.
Oh. Did she move to Utah too?
No, I don't think she moved to Utah. I don't even remember where she moved to.
Oh.
But sometimes, sometimes I dream about I'm back in Manchester High. Then I get to see all my old friends there.
Yeah.
And sometimes I would see Megan and John in there. John's her brother.
Oh, okay.
You believe that? Attending Manchester High like I was back then. But yet they've never been to Manchester High, neither of them. Isn't that kind of funny?
Yeah, that is kind of funny.
Chris goes on to talk about how, he has dreams that Megan Schroeder and her brother also went to high school with him. This is just, in my opinion, it kind of goes back to the whole CAD plans of the mall. Chris would build his high school in like Lego form, and then it burnt down during the house fire. I think he built it back up again. But in that like Lego diorama, whatever the fuck, his parents were teachers at the school. The Sonichus were in his classrooms. I think even Clyde Cash was in detention in that class. But I really think around this time, when Chris thought of the trolls, when he thought of Megan and everything, he probably genuinely in his head thought of like a scenario where he was sitting at his lunch table with the gal pals and with Megan, and everything was just going great, and it was like life is supposed to be. And at the opposing side of the cafeteria is Clyde Cash and, Vivian G and all these trolls that he hates so much. Like, there's that classic clip where he's like, I will beat you up and make you eat your underwear. I will beat you right in front of everybody. Like, who does he talk about when he says everybody? Now, maybe I'm looking at this way too much, which I probably am, and I definitely smoked way too much before I made this video, so I'm taking some unnecessarily deep dives. But I really do think that when Chris would sit there and talk about pummeling the trolls and all that, I bet you, when he sat down at the end of the night and dreamed about getting his comeuppance on the trolls, it was in the halls of Manchester High where all of his gal pals could see him.
Yeah, that's why he was over there.
I guess it's becoming a lens crafter.
Yeah. Anyway, here's the Spencers.
No.
If you like to look at the naughty stuff.
No, I'm not into that.
Not yet, anyway. But you might. But you know, it's mostly humorous anyway.
Yeah.
God, she is so weirded out by this. She's still trying to keep this act up. You can just hear it in her voice. Chris here is not getting the hint at all. I genuinely think that his idea of how this date was going to go was, I'm going to take her around the mall, show her all my favorite toy stores, and then we're going to go to Spencer's and shop for other toys.
Well, it doesn't look like there's anything down here.
Yeah, not much. Not much to look at. The toy stores around here in this neck of the woods.
Well, I gotta get going soon. It's gonna be a long drive.
Long drive.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that you at least keep the memories we've shared.
Yeah.
You know, I'll walk you to your car if you want.
No, I'll probably have to go to the bathroom first. It's that time of month.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're on your period.
Yeah.
Ew. Like, did that have to be part of the trolling plans? Like, that little part right there? Like, you couldn't have just went to the bathroom without giving any further detail? On the other hand, though, Chris sounds really bummed out when she says that, because I think that's him going like, damn, I can't get it tonight, you know? Like, I think that was really the final nail in the coffin. He didn't notice any signs up until now, but that one, he was like, oh, okay. And he even brings it up with her, too. He's like, oh, yeah, don't worry, I know about it. Like, just trying to make sure that she knows that he is a brilliant mind. But now, as they continue to walk the illustrious halls of the shopping center, someone is about to emerge from a store. And this someone is going to catch Chris off guard. And what he doesn't know is that Emily is about to fall head over heels for someone, and it ain't going to be him. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, get ready for one of the funniest goddamn things in the world. Get ready to watch Chris get cucked by a pickle.
Aside from this first meeting, how do you feel about me?
You're a really nice guy. I don't know why, like, people pick on you and all that.
Yeah, they should get to know me in person.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a gentleman. I behave.
Yeah.
Behave.
Have you been into any of these stores over here?
Remember going to your friend here? Yeah, so, you want to go see Watchmen with you?
No.
I haven't seen that movie.
Any particular reason why you're dressed up like that? Come on, Emily.
What?
Oh, hey, maybe
Wait.
you want to go with me. Huh? You want to go see Watchmen?
No.
Lots of,
Wait, what's wrong?
Man in the pickle suit. Apparently this guy's amongst the trolls.
You think?
What the...
You can just hear the shock in Chris's. You can you can feel it. He is just like, what the fuck? Because if you know anything about Chris, you know he fucking hates pickles. He hates the taste of them. He hates that they look like dicks. He hates everything about pickles. And now a giant pickle is right in front of him, and he's trying to steal Chris's girlfriend. And Chris is at first, like, oh, no, Emily, just come with me. And now the Pickle Man's insisting, hey, I'm trying to take you to see Watchmen. It's just so ridiculous. This is only stuff that would happen to Chris because he's so gullible.
You're low.
So what are you?
I'm a pickle.
You're a pickle. I love pickles.
Yeah, pickles are pretty cool.
And who are you advertising for?
Not really advertising, just for...
You're just dressed up as a pickle?
Just for fun.
Yeah?
But
This is a pickle to haunt me.
You think? I don't even know you.
You're just bored.
Yep.
You don't even know me. Are you sure? You have internet access?
Lots of people have internet access.
Do you know Conchu and Rose Chew?
No, I do not.
Do you know about Encyclopedia Dramatica?
No, I do not. You want to go see Watchmen?
No.
Alright.
She's heading over to. She's heading back to her hometown.
Watchmen would be pretty cool.
Yeah, it would be pretty cool.
Yeah. All right.
Well, let's go see it.
Okay, cool.
Chris is just grilling the Pickle Man on all these types of questions. Do you know who I am? Do you know who Sonichu and Rose Chew is? After he said he doesn't know who you are, you should probably just assume he doesn't know who Sonichu and Rose Chew is, because, you're front and fucking center on the first comic book. So, but then he asks, do you know what Encyclopedia Dramatica is? And the Pickle Man vehemently denies it. No, I am just here for fun. I'm dressed as a pickle because I like pickles. And now I gotta go see Watchmen with this pretty lady over here. I also love it when that random woman walks by and she's like, "Oh my God, what are you? You're a pickle." And like I said, this is one of those things where you can't see what's happening, so you just imagine it. You can imagine some older white lady just like, wow, like, "Oh my God, look at you. You look so cute. You're a pickle." And Chris is just standing next to her, breathing heavily, looks at her after she's done talking. He's dressed as a pickle to haunt me. And then she probably just was like, "Oh, okay," and just got away from that shit, because you don't hear her voice again after that one.
Yeah.
You probably already seen Watchmen, haven't you? You like the...
I've heard of Watchmen.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
What's wrong with him?
Something. You like pickles?
yeah, I do not like pickles.
Don't pickle.
And also, particularly a guy that pickles tricked me on the internet, pretended he was Blanca.
There's nothing wrong with him.
Who's Blanca?
There's nothing wrong with him. See, he's a nice guy.
Well, all right.
So as I put there up on screen in text, you can hear the Pickle Man and Emily go off to go see Watchmen, and Chris follows them, still not being sure of what's going on here. As you'll hear in a couple of seconds, he's just kind of trying to protect Emily. I think in the back of his head, or not even in the back of his head, and the only thing he's thinking right now is, this guy's a troll, and he's going to hurt her, because these trolls are dangerous. And so he's following along with them. At this point, I assume Emily and the guy in the pickle suit assumed Chris would just kind of get the hint and walk away. His girl's been stolen from him, but he doesn't understand that, He still thinks that he has Emily hook, line, and sinker, and this guy's just getting in his way. So, and at the end there, too, when he's like, he thinks he's really got the Pickle Man when he's like, they ask him if why doesn't he like pickles? And Chris is like, yeah, I don't like pickles, particularly a guy in a pickle suit who tricked me and pretended that he was Blanca. And he expects this guy to be like, "You've caught me, you rat bastard. Well, Chris Chan, we must duel right here in the mall for this woman's love." Everything to Chris is like some real dramatic, "Oh, I got him now." This dude just turns around and he's like, I don't even know who that is, dude. I'm just a guy in a pickle suit. What are you talking about?
I think you're making the lady a little uncomfortable there, Chris.
I'm sorry, Emily.
It's okay.
If Chris had any wits about him, he would have known this guy was a troll and knew all about him the second he just said this.
I think you're making the lady a little uncomfortable there, Chris.
I think you're making the lady a little bit uncomfortable there, Chris. If Chris was just thinking just a little bit, he could have turned around and asked the guy, "How do you know my name?" With this whole recording we've just listened to, not once has Chris's name been said while the Pickle Man was there. Obviously, I know I'm just grasping at a straw here that Chris was never going to notice. This guy could have sat there and gone, "Yeah, so what's up, Christian Weston Chandler? I don't even know who you are." And Chris would have been like, "Oh, all right. Well, I'm still skeptical of you, but you're saying you don't know who I am." And the Pickle Man bringing that up, saying that, you're making the girl feel a little bit uncomfortable, I assume, I'm just spitballing here, that while the Pickle Man and Emily were walking away, Chris probably tried to catch up to them, stand next to Emily really close by, to kind of, mark his territory, to let the Pickle Man know, this is my girl. And we all know Emily's just there to troll Chris, and we all know the Pickle Man's the guy that she was in the script written to be with, so he's got to kind of put his foot in and go, back up a little bit there, guy.
I think I have to go to the bathroom now.
Yeah.
Go change my tampon.
Oh boy, yeah. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I guess I do now. Yeah.
Okay, well, it's nice meeting you. Maybe we'll talk online or something.
Yeah, well, I haven't left your side yet.
Well, we're gonna go now.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to the bathroom.
You're not going where she's going.
We're leaving together.
Are you with her?
Now we are. We're gonna go for lunch.
No, she's going back. No, you gotta go back to West Virginia, don't you?
I mean, I probably
We're gonna
get
see. We're gonna see Watchmen first.
Watchmen's not that long of a movie.
Yeah, 5-hour drive.
It'll be okay.
I still will never get over her saying Watchmen's not that long of a fucking movie. Personally, and I know some of y'all might grill me in the comments for this, I loved the Watchmen movie growing up. I mean, maybe it was because I was a kid and I haven't seen it in years. I always thought that movie was pretty sick. But I do understand people's gripes with it. I'll be honest with you, all I ever remember about it is those scenes with Rorschach, the scenes with like Night Owl and Rorschach going around kicking some ass. There's that scene of like they're fucking on the moon. But then once the movie gets like really long into it, it's all about this asshole, this blonde fucker with a tiger. What's his name? Ozymandias. And I know that's integral to the story, but that last hour just drags, man. I didn't mean to make this video into a review of the original Watchmen movie, but yeah, you can hear Emily say she needs to go to the bathroom, and the Pickle Man says, oh, cool, I'll just go with you, and Chris again steps in to be like, oh, you're not going where she's going. Once again, I couldn't, like, I try to sometimes put myself in Chris's shoes in this situation. Just imagine how awkward it would be if I were to say this in person to somebody. Like, if you're with a woman and you're on a date with her and a new dude comes up and just takes her away from you, you know, you either got to do one or two things. You got to go fight the guy, or you just got to call it a day and go home. Luckily for your boy here, and mostly every one of y'all, this has never happened to us where you're out on a date and a guy in a pickle suit comes up to steal your girl. But Chris here, Chris doesn't take either of those routes. He follows them. He follows along with them like a lost child. And then he even tries to guilt trip Emily a little bit by saying, oh no, you have to go home, don't you? Like, you really need to get there. And granted, it is a 5-hour drive, but at the same time, you know, I think she wants to make some time to enjoy the Watchmen with her newfound love interest, and Chris just can't handle that. So now Emily retreats into the bathroom, and Chris and the Pickle Man like have a conversation off camera, off the recording, which is a shame because I would have loved to hear what they talked about while they were just standing by the bathroom waiting for Emily to get done. So after like 5 minutes, Emily finally gets done taking a shit, and she goes back out to meet up with the Pickle Man and Chris again, and finally we're about to really go our separate ways once and for all. And Chris does something at the end here that, you know, I keep bringing it up, that he's so unaware of everything going on. He's so, like, he doesn't understand that Emily really has no interest in him, but he still thinks it'll be acceptable to do what he tries to do right now.
Yeah. My car's that way.
Okay.
Yeah, her car. You parked broke out, didn't you?
Yeah.
So did I.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Which Belk?
that way.
Oh, I'm over there.
Oh. Okay.
Chris, you don't need to walk me to my car.
Okay. Well,
All right.
So you have yourself a safe trip back to West Virginia.
Okay, I might call you on Skype later.
Okay. Just take care.
You too.
Hey.
No.
I'll take you on it.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
Okay.
All right, see ya.
You take care. Be safe.
All right, you too.
So at the very end there, Chris tries to go in for a kiss, and Emily just shuts that shit down real quick. Like, this is what I was saying. I know we can't expect much from Chris, but, like, nowhere during this date, nowhere, like, you know, not once did Emily ever give Chris, like, any signs that she wanted a kiss from him. And especially when the Pickle Man showed up, it's very obvious that she's not into you anymore, Chris. This guy is, you know, cylinder-esque, giant, green, like, just form is absolutely infatuating to this woman, and you just aren't up to par no more. But he's got to make it so awkward right before they part ways, and it's classic Chris to do it. Now, you know, what happened after this? Did Emily and the Pickle Man have a happily ever after story, and they're married now with a bunch of little dill kosher pickles, wherever the fuck those ones are? Did the Pickle Man hop back in his jar and just lived a lonely life, never to bother Chris again? Or did Chris go home, have strippers called to his house by Clyde Cash, and then get grilled on the phone by Emily? You know which one it is.
What's up?
I think we need to talk.
Okay.
Because it's not me, Chris. It's you. And I was just thinking about yesterday. I really didn't appreciate you touching me all the time.
I'm sorry, what?
I didn't appreciate you constantly touching me. Okay, you just met me, and you were touching me constantly.
Oh.
I mean,
sorry.
you should never do that to a woman on one that you just met, and especially when you try to kiss me. Okay, that's not right at all.
I'm sorry, I was a little nervous. I was nervous a little bit.
Why would you try and kiss somebody if you're nervous? I mean, I thought people would get nervous and not try and kiss somebody.
This is the same conversation that Chris had with Casey's dad in the Casey's dad call, where he's like, you tried to kiss her because you were nervous? What is that? Who does that? And again here, Chris is trying to use the same thing that, he was so nervous. So what do you do when you're nervous? Oh, I'll just go in for a kiss. If you're really nervous, you wouldn't even be able to utter a single word out to this girl. But yeah, Emily ain't having it, and that's what this phone call is. It's later that night when Emily had to call Chris and just let him know that she really didn't appreciate the date. And as he'll come to find out later, Clyde Cash is going to get involved in this. It's just going to be a whole big thing. And, it just shows the levels that the Pickle Man that can go to just to fuck with Chris's life, They're always there, the Pickle Men. They're always there to make sure Chris can't get laid. And this was just another shining example of that.
But anyways, let me tell you about...
Anyway.
You'll probably never hear from me again, Chris, because the Pickle Man was just... He was a perfect gentleman, okay? He, took me out on a date, he paid for my movie, and... since he kept his hands off of me, he got, a little extra from me. And that could have been you, Chris. Okay, so, and then he took me to meet Clyde. And Clyde's, a perfect gentleman as well, so I'm going to be living in this mansion from now on.
Anyway, did you get back to West Virginia okay?
Yeah, well, I didn't exactly go back to West Virginia. I'm going to be living with Clyde now, with Julie and Blanca and Sarah... and everyone else, Chris. Do you understand? Since you don't understand, all the women that you've mistreated in the past, they're living with Clyde because he is rehabilitating them.
I see. Well, I don't know what to say.
I always crack up when I hear her say that she gave the Pickle Man a little extra, but at the same time, she's trying way too hard here to, trigger Chris. She's using every, troll buzzword, saying, oh, she's gonna live with Clyde now, just like all the other exes of Chris's that weren't real, and it's not phasing Chris. He's just kind of sitting there okay, did you get back to West Virginia okay then? He doesn't give a fuck at this point. I think he's just, we've talked about it before, and I think a lot of people who talked about Chris have talked about it, that with women, he's much more patient than men. I feel like if a guy was saying this right now, Chris would just be like, you shut your mouth, you bastard. But with her saying all this, it's all right, cool, I can still talk her back into this. Maybe I can convince her that they're all the evil ones and I'm the good one, and next thing you know, she'll be right here at my doorstep again. He's very optimistic, is Chris, even if it is a blind optimism that has no chance of happening.
So... do you have anything else to say?
Well, this is all I can say is, I'm sorry if I mistreated you, and if it felt like I did wrong.
Because I don't know what you have against these men in the pickle suits or whatever, because he was just a guy in a pickle suit. I don't understand what was so threatening about him. And apparently you called the cops on him. I mean, what did he do wrong? How are you going to report him? Saying that a guy in a pickle suit stole your date?
Yeah, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but the Chandlers, especially on this day, but always, are way too willy-nilly to call the cops. They called the cops on this guy who stole Chris's girlfriend. What, we listened to the recording, like, what did the Pickle Man do there that would be considered illegal? Nothing at all. But the Chandlers felt it necessary to call the mall, call the cops, and let them know that there was a man in a pickle suit terrorizing their son. That can't be happening. No one can mess with Chris. We gotta call the fucking cops. And not only that, remember when I brought up the strippers and everything? They called the cops on them too, because they just, happened to be strippers at their front door. You just tell them to go away? No, we need to call the cops. That mindset's so fucking stupid, and I guess it's the paranoia that the Chandlers had about the trolls and everything. They thought everybody who was like a little bit trollish, anything that happened to them is just some evil deed, and we need to report it. It's kind of like what Cyrax does nowadays. Calls the cops for any little fucking thing. In a lot of ways, Cyrax really has become the reincarnation of Chris with all the dumb bullshit he does. I thought that honor was going to go to Ethan Ralph, but haven't heard much about Ralph since he moved to Mexico. So, yeah, back into it we go.
Yeah, well, I've had the past where the guy in the pickle suit posed as Blanca.
But, I mean,
And,
you, didn't know this guy, and you're already passing judgment on him, and you're already, you've passed judgment on Clyde, okay? Clyde's, the nicest guy ever, okay? He is, he is gonna be, taking care of me for the rest of my life, because he is loaded with cash. Hence why his last name is Cash.
Yeah, she's just really trying to beat it in his head that, you had me, you wanted me, well, guess what? Now your arch rival's getting me. And that's what, I think that's what the main thing was here. It's, hey, now she's with Clyde, let's make him mad. Hey, in person, now she's with the Pickle Man. And look, he didn't even really get that mad, he was just fucking confused. But, it's, like I said, this is all this really is now with this phone call. Emily's just trying to piss off Chris by talking up the trolls and talking down on Chris. It usually works, but as I said, when it's a woman doing it, Chris doesn't seem to really hit Chris. He just thinks there's always an opportunity to turn this around and make her one of his gal pals again.
I see. All right, well, if that's what you want, I can't force you out of anything else, so...
But Chris, you should be careful. But you should be careful, Chris, on all the women that you encounter. You better make sure that you treat them properly. Do not touch them on the first date. Don't try to fucking kiss them. And, you'll have no problems. But if you do, the Pickle Man will come and take them away and take them to Clyde, and he's going to take care of them for the rest of their lives as well.
I see. All right. Okay. All right, well, you take care of yourself.
And why don't you take care of yourself too, Chris, okay?
Yeah. Okay, bye-bye.
And as he always does, Chris runs for the hills the second he hears Clyde's voice. But he's going to be hearing it a little more because Clyde's about to ring up Chris and inform him that, Clyde is responsible for the strippers showing up tonight. And like I said, you're about to find out that the Chandlers are not happy about this.
Hello?
Hey, Chris, it's me. It's Clyde. Anyway, I'm just wondering, I was trying to help you with your aversion problem, and I sent over some fine ladies over to your house. How does that work out for you?
So you were the one that sent them over, huh? Well, for your information, my family was very uncomfortable with them being sent over, and they reported them to the police, and they got turned in, and yeah, we did not appreciate that.
Chris, you claim to be a virgin with rage all the time. I'm trying to help you, man.
Yeah, well, sending over prostitutes is not exactly a way of helping somebody find true love.
Sex is not true love, Chris.
Yeah, are you still there, Clyde?
Yeah?
Yeah, keep your nose out of our business, Clyde.
Look, I worry for your family and everybody, okay? I'm trying to look out for the best of you, Chris. There are much more evil men in this world.
I don't know who you think you are,
Chris, your voice
but I'm
changed.
telling you to cease bothering us, okay?
Chris, your voice
Otherwise, your
changed.
butt's going to be in trouble. Your butt's going to be in trouble.
Is your
So just
refrigerator running?
back off.
Oh,
Don't call us anymore. Goodbye.
use the pokey flute, quick!
It's okay.
The ending there with Chris getting his parents to fight this battle for him, it just shows the IQ of Barb Chandler, giving Chris the wise advice of telling them to get out of our business, Clyde. Like, with all the shit these people have done and with everything that's happened, like, that's the advice you're still giving him, like, to just tell them to piss off, get out of our business, you're gonna be in trouble if you keep this up. It's just empty threats and requests of people that really don't give a fuck about the Chandlers in general, so I don't know what choir you're preaching to, but yeah, you can see there they had the prostitutes turned in. They didn't just tell them, go away, get off our property. No, we have to turn them in. We have to call the police. Maybe it's because the girls who showed up probably were like, nah, we want our money. It probably turned into a huge, big thing. But that's another thing I would have loved to know about. The story about that, I don't know how the trolls found it out. Maybe they talked to one of the girls who was there. I don't know. But the story goes that when they showed up, Chris was literally like crouching, hiding behind Bob and Barb because he was so scared. And that just shows the type of mindset Chris was in. He's looking for a girlfriend, looking to have someone. He's always talking about sex online, but when sex is right in front of you, it says so much about the mindset that he was in, and it just shows that he wasn't ready for none of that shit. But then, Clyde tells him, I'm trying to help you get laid, bro. And Chris tells him, well, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for true love. And, just a few years later, Chris would end up getting his own prostitute, which is another story people are completely on each side of the fence about. Some people don't even think that actually happened. I don't know, personally. I think it probably did, but at the same time, maybe it didn't. Who knows? But yeah. So that was the day, this whole this saga where the Pickle Man showed up, stole Chris's girl. It spawned this whole idea around Chris's trolls and all, that the Pickle Men are always after Chris, and the easiest thing you could use to piss him off is just a picture of a pickle or a picture of a Pickle Man. There's the classic phrase where Chris is laying down talking about the Pickle Man got me again, talking about the Blanca shit and all that, and I wanted to get into all the Blanca shit. But the story I wanted to tell today was the one of the Pickle Man stealing Chris's girl, because I think it's the funniest goddamn thing maybe that's ever happened to Chris. And the Pickle Man, like I said, he took on a life of his own. And Chris feared the Pickle Man, all the way back from the Blanca shit, all the way up to, well, the guy you see in the picture here. Because when the Surf Shack Tito saga happened, kind of started to bleed in with the Wallflower saga. When Chris was talking to that girl, the Wallflower, and she found out that Chris was talking about her all over online. Chris accidentally gave out her name. She didn't want anything to do with Chris after that. And to get rid of him, she said, hey, well, I'm dating Surf Shack Tito. And Chris was not having this. And for some reason, he decided to, to mesh Surf Shack Tito in with the Pickle Man. And when he did that, the end result was this video you see here, in a timeless Chris classic.
I will find you. I will cut you. And if you go near her again, and I will find you. I will find you. I will cut you up. I'll beat you up. I'll knock you on your backside. Stand on your gut like a log roller and roll your fat right through your skull. Throwing it wide open. Because that's what you deserve, you goddamn womanizing, raping, trolling, stupid, pickle-suited nigger.
Yeah, we're going to stop that one right there. We're going to just pause that one. And that, my friends, is really, I think, where we're going to leave off today. Because this is already a long-ass video as it is. But I was going through YouTube the other night, and I was like, some Pickle Man videos would be pretty funny, and they were. So I was like, you know what, let me make a video on this, because it's time. We never really talked about the Pickle Man much, so now's a better time than any. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, because I think we're going to take a look at a lot of Chris's older trolls. There's so much stuff from the back catalog that we never looked at, and I think it's finally time to do that now with Chris being in jail for God knows how long. So I hope you guys enjoy the videos that are coming. And, yeah, that's about it. So, as usual, I want to give shout-outs to Vanessa, Cody Hale, Club Doom, Scaly Schisms, Echo Spectre, Kaitan, Fiendland's Party Place, Churlish, Pythia, Your Mom, Mick Surly, Adrian Lara, Sky Fitzpatrick, Alright Stingy, Isaiah, Akiba's Beat Fan, Blake Austin, G-Man, Gypsy Pauls, Trademark, Cyrax's Stylist, Vaga, Commander Louie, Krabby, Justin S., The Ghostbusters Fan, Steve from Machete Squad, Chef Meme Maker, Italian Boy Advance, East, Chris Chan's Fanta Bottle, Cyrax's Stylist, and Music Biz Marty's Bong. You guys are all fucking goats. And all y'all who made it to the end of this long-ass video, you are a goat as well. Usually I dedicate the long videos to Cyrax because that little guy just goes fucking crazy. But this one today, there was so much here and I loved covering it. Like this is the type of shit that really makes me like crack up and have fun when I'm recording these, because I love the old Chris shit. It's just so wacky, so out there, and you rarely ever see this type of trolling anymore. But it's just a relic of a bygone era. But I assume that one day, somewhere down the line when Chris finally gets released from jail, the Pickle Man's going to be watching and waiting for his next time to strike. And I think Chris better be on the lookout, because the Pickle Man may be closer than he ever even knows. So as I close out this video, I just wanted to show you guys the only piece of footage from that day. It's of Chris and Bob and Emily. They're enjoying a nice lunch at the Fashion Square Mall right before tragedy struck. So, as always, guys, I'll see y'all in the next one. Take care, have a great rest of your week, and we'll be back at it before you know it with another video. So, thanks again for all the support you guys always give me. I can never thank you enough for it. And yeah, I hope you guys will be here next time when we premiere a new vid. Until then, take care, my friends.